Hi, my name is Derek, and I'm here with Joey.
Hey there.
And we are going to be kind of breaking down what we think about the Star Wars Destiny 2-player game that came out on Force Friday. And just kind of going over it, doing a few analysis of some cards, tell you what we think about them, and really excited to see you guys down here and play. So our first card we're going to be looking at is Kylo Ren, Tormented One. Okay, Joey, why don't you take this one?
All right. Well, first of all, amazing ability. After you activate this character, choose a color, and take a card from your opponent's at random. And if that's the color, you get to do 2 damage.
Whoa.
2 damage just by activating him. It's a great feeling.
Oh yeah.
And it's a lot of the times cards like this don't have amazing dice sides, but him having the 1/2/2 on melee, spicy.
Oh yeah. He seems like a pretty aggressive character just by looking at him. Being able to, like you were saying, activate, and then most people will play, you'll run into decks that are just mono-colored, so you're really just, it's a 50-50 shot.
Yeah, even if they're running the 3 colors where they have the access to blue, red, yellow, and gray, the chance of just doing 2 damage straight off, seeing that card, getting that knowledge of, if it's a removal or if it's an upgrade that they're going to play, maybe you're playing something with more discard to be able to mitigate that more. I think it's a great opener. Yeah, for sure.
For sure, and I actually like his other sides too. He's going to give you a resource and also be able to strip your opponent of a resource, which, it can come in handy from time to time.
Absolutely.
And even if he's paired maybe with, maybe a yellow character of some kind I could see, then he could run the, it's the one that's...
Salvage stand?
Yep. And then also it's for the resource ability that switches. What's that called?
It's bait and switch.
Bait and switch. Thank you, Joey. I knew you would know that. Yeah, but he can bait and switch, so he essentially has 4 damage sides.
Yeah. Also the disrupt, if you're pairing him with red, you get access to Imperial Inspection, which is an amazing card. Having that other character with the disrupt side it's a great feeling. Not having to deal with one character, only having that disrupt side.
And what do you think about his, he's got 14 for 1 dice and then 17 for the Elite 2. Do you think he's got any pairings right off the top of your head that you think that maybe you could just throw in with him?
Well, I'm today actually going to be playing him with a FN 2199 or 9s at Elite. I think that's a great point value for him at the 14-17. He's your main character, but he's not the Vader style main character where you can only play with another single die character. Letting him pair with another Elite character is amazing.
Oh yeah, I could really see that doing some work, and I wish you the best today. We'll see how it turns out.
The other thing I want to say, 12 health. That's a lot of health on a character.
Dude, yes. Not even seeing that at first, but that is really nice.
Yeah.
How much does his other one have? I think
it's 11.
11, okay. So getting that extra health.
At a 13 Elite cost.
Yeah.
So
yeah, totally a nice, more aggressive version of Kylo Ren if you're a Kylo fan.
Yeah.
Awesome. Would you like to, let's move on to maybe the Phasma card we got. All right. And so Captain Phasma here, her health is 10, which is pretty...
It's pretty good, but when you factor in the cost of 913, it's great. It's great to see that amount of health.
And then the damage sides on her are pretty solid as well, the 1/2. I think that's pretty comparable to her other level.
Yeah, absolutely. And she has the pseudo side of the special of do 2 damage to a character or 3 damage if they have 6 or more damage on it, that's a great side.
Oh man, yeah, you do like to see that. And then she's also got the manipulate side, which is always pretty nice.
Oh yeah, that focus gets things done. And the great thing is at the 9 cost, you can pair her with an Elite Dark. Which one is it? The Sith Lord Vader.
Wow, yes. Yeah. Daddy Vader.
Yeah.
Big guy,
Getting that focus side to switch to his 3s. It's a mixed damage deck, but it doesn't really matter because you're not running any blue sides, so you can resolve the 2s. Gives access to a slew of red cards.
Oh, yeah.
Anything from leadership, because she is a unique red character, which is really spicy.
Oh, yeah.
So being able to activate, to tap her down to ready up Daddy Vader, as we like to say, for the second swing.
Oh, God. Yeah, you know, I've really seen those big Daddy Vader decks that if you can get him a second swing at any point in the game, it's backbreaking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Being able to roll him in twice in the
Yeah.
same round is just like...
Absolutely.
It's just not fair, man. It's not fair. I like it.
And then she just pairs great with a lot of characters at that 913 cost. You can, you know, have the single version of her and then a couple other characters to make it a 4-die team, 3-character 4 dice, or
Nice.
you know, making her 13 cost, getting another big heavy beater. You can run her with Kylo Ren at both elite and do a lot of damage that way.
Oh man, yes you can. Yeah, which also brings me to the point that I think that, I mean, if you were to buy 2 of these 2-player starters, it's pretty easy to have like a tournament deck ready.
Oh yeah.
You know
I think it's a great starting off point for anybody who wants to get in the game. Going with a friend, getting 2 of them, splitting the cost in half, having one friend have a hero deck, one friend have a villain deck, you know, switch it around every once in a while. I think it gives you a great feel of the game, and I don't know if it's the most competitive thing, but I think it's a great stepping off point.
Oh yeah, I definitely think so as well. I'm liking these 2 characters already.
Yeah.
So is there anything else you wanted to say about Phasma here?
No, I think I'm good with that.
Sounds good. All right, let's move on. Let's go to, what do you think, the upgrades?
Upgrades, yeah, sure.
I'm down with that. All right, here is it's Jedi Rival. It's a villain upgrade. It costs 1 resource, and after you activate the attached character, you may remove 1 shield from a character. So what I like to say is, like, one of my favorite characters is Qui-Gon, and I've noticed that, you know, you see Darth Maul and all these cards that remove shields. So I'm feeling when we see Darth Maul, he will have some sort of like shield hate ability.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to be very happy with Darth Maul when he comes out if you're running Qui-Gon.
No, I'm definitely going to be running one with the Force. I have a feeling so I'm going to need that. But I do like this ability. It's a cheap little upgrade.
Yeah.
Cost 1, and it kind of like removes shields from characters that can be kind of problematic with shields.
Sure.
Do you think it would do enough to those types of decks to kind of handle them?
It's possible. I think with guys like Qui-Gon, it's pretty good. He needs the 1 shield to be able to start doing his shenanigans. So, you know, if you have a buddy who's always playing that Qui-Gon deck, I think throwing in one of these is okay. It's a great stepping off point, like I said, because you can always override it to something more powerful later on, but it's a good way to like save that 1 resource into the next turn without getting yourself hit by disrupts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's why I like 1 cost upgrades so much. And I think with other cards, like if General Riken ends up being important when Empire at War comes out, he when he activates, he mills you equal to the number of if you have shields on your other characters, he'll mill you that much.
Oh, that's nice.
So like hitting those shields, he's good against the Rey that comes in the starter set as well, because you're going to be putting shields on him. So doing that effective 1 damage, not bad for activating a character.
Yeah, not bad at all. Not too bad. All right, and let's see. Next, we'll go with
Force Stasis.
Oh, all right. You want to start off this one off?
Sure. I think it's a solid card. I think it's a good baseline as far as what Force Throw gives you. It's very similar to that, with the double special that removes dice and just does damage. But at the 2 cost, you really see the value at how good Force Throw is. Okay. In a heavy range meta, I think it's not bad. If you're playing ability stuff, if you're running holocrons, being able to switch this out and get rid of those damage sides.
Yeah, definitely. I personally, I'm a big fan of art as well.
Oh yeah, beautiful art. All of these cards basically have beautiful art.
Oh yeah, even the Jedi Rival one we just saw too is gorgeous. But this one's so nice. Like, it reminds me of that one scene in the movie, literally, where, you know, Kylo stops the blaster from hitting him, and then just after the fact, like before you even like remember it, it just like goes out of nowhere. So
great angle at it, like seeing it from that perspective of that guy shooting that blast, and you're like, oh no.
Right, and then I'm a big guy. Like when I'm playing the games, I always like to kind of like think of like certain interactions and how they would actually look if they were to be hanging out and actually doing them. So it's just really trippy for me. I enjoy that. Being a blue character only card, I can really see it kind of like maybe settling into, like you were saying, in a very heavy like ranged meta, fitting into like the emo boys deck. Yeah. Possibly that being a good thing. Maybe instead of like, you know, immobilize in some of these like other decks that are a little bit more control-y.
Sure.
As well. Maybe if it is a higher ranged damage.
Yeah, I could see that.
But, yeah. All right, let's move on to the next one.
Right, next we have Dark Counsel.
Ooh, Dark Counsel. That looks really cool. Do you know what character that is? Is that the Inquisitor? Or?
No. He's like one of, I believe, like Snoke's council guys. Like he's like a hand of the Emperor kind of thing.
Oh, cool.
Because there are people who look like that in the previous movies. I'm not sure if it's that character or yeah.
Yeah, I think I've seen this guy in like Knights of the Old Republic or something. It feels like, you know. But so yeah, Dark Counsel. It's a blue upgrade. It's a villain upgrade. It only costs 1 resource, which we already kind of talked about how we kind of like that. You know, being able to, it's a jumping point for certain decks. It having let's see, 2 of the Force Manipulate sides, which are really nice to see. I always like having them in a deck.
Oh yeah.
The 1 resource side, which if it's in, you know, a deck just to gain your resources is always nice. It kind of replaces itself in that regard. And then also you've got the special side. It's draw a card, re-roll this die instead of removing it from your pool. So that's kind of cool, especially I would say in the Emo Boys deck, because there's so many specials rolling around. You're just getting a free reroll on this.
Absolutely.
To set yourself up for another special pop probably later on in the turn.
Yeah, I think this is probably one of the like top 5 cards in the set, in the 2-player starter, I think it fits perfectly into the Emo Kids deck with the double blanks, getting that blanks package into the deck, manipulating things. Also, the great thing about it is it's got those focus sides. Focus is not something that villain gets very often. So being able to focus into those Vader 3-for-1s or the big damage sides that it can do, I think it's great at 1 cost. And also, just being able to use those focuses in that deck. And the blanks as well.
Yeah, the blanks, it's always something that I've always like kind of focused in on when I'm playing blue villain decks. Right. I know I really like to play blue villain. And when I did play the Emo Boys for a little time, I saw, like, I played the Power of the Dark Side. It's that support.
That re-roll, and then if it's blank, it does damage.
Yeah. And I've won a game by that before, and it makes me really happy. So I've always, like, thought about, I really want to find cards that can interact well with it as well. And, you know, I'm always playing the 2 holocrons and those types of decks. Sure. So this is definitely a nice little upgrade in that, that kind of deck for me. All right. Is there anything else you want to say about that?
No.
Cool. Moving on.
Let's go with the Crossguard Lightsaber.
Ooh, all right. Yeah. So yeah, we got 2 resources for the Crossguard Lightsaber. It is, the sides it's got is 1 melee side, a 2+ melee side, a 1 shield, 1 resource, and we've also got a special, which we've been talking a lot about, the Emo Kids deck, and then the 1 negative. After you play this upgrade on Kylo Ren, you deal 1 damage to a character. That's pretty nice.
Yeah,
you just
we're seeing a lot of just damage out of nowhere with a lot of these cards, actually. And it's interesting. It's very strong, I think. Like, even 1 damage just for playing a card.
Yeah. You're getting, not only are you getting an upgrade, so you're getting a dice on your character, which is always good in this game.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But you are just getting 1 damage. So it's almost like the counter of all these, you know, the Qui-Ray decks that are getting like, oh, I'm going to play, or just the light Jedi size anyway that are getting like free shields here and there, like maybe Jedi robes. It's just like saying, oh, you want some shields? Nah, we're gonna take it.
We'll stop that right now.
Exactly. And then the special side here, you deal 2 damage to a character, or 3 damage instead if that character has 1 or more shields. So it's kind of picking on those shield generating decks.
It's a mini Kylo's lightsaber, which is kind of cool. That special of, hey, if you have shields, I'm gonna punish you. But at them not having shields and just doing 2 damage, hey, that's great. It's similar to the regular lightsaber special. It's not unblockable, but it can kind of do that if they have 1 shield.
Yeah.
It's effectively the same. But getting rid of that shield is super good.
Oh yeah, and then it being at a 2 cost instead of the 3.
At the 3, yeah, absolutely.
That means you can play it first turn too.
Yeah.
Which can really, put somebody on their heels. Like, oh, he's already doing a damage to me. Okay, all right, and just kind of focus in that way.
I think one of the other great things about it is that it is not unique. You can have double wielding crossguard lightsabers,
Whoa,
which is something strange as far as a lot of the cards that have to do with specific characters are unique. But hey, you know what? Everybody gets a crossguard lightsaber.
Yeah, you get one. So do you. That's actually really cool. I didn't even see that because I just automatically assumed.
Right.
Right? I like that. That's really cool. Is there anything else that you wanted to kind of touch on?
Yeah, I think that's good.
Perfect. Let's move it on.
All right, we'll go with the other unique card. This is Captain Phasma's Blaster.
Oh, nice.
So at 3 cost with a 1 ranged, a 2 ranged, a 3 ranged for a resource, and a +3 range, a 1 resource, and a blank. Pretty comparable to the IQA sniper rifle. It's unique, whereas the other one isn't. But if you don't really care about those disrupt sides, this is a pretty good upgrade for that. It also has the ability, hey, if you have it on Phasma, she ends up dying, don't worry, you can give it to a friend.
I do really like that. The redeploy, I think, is really nice on this card.
Yeah.
It not only gives you the ability to, especially with this new Phasma, play super aggressive and not worry about Phasma going away, especially like we were talking earlier, if you pair Phasma with an FN,
right,
and then just like roll it over to FN, he's gonna love that upgrade. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And just even throwing this on a deck without Phasma, I think has its merits. It's got great sides. It does pretty good damage, especially at the cost.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it does. That's all I have to say. It's just a really solid damage card. You know what I mean? I like it. All right, see you next.
So next we have the Praetorian Guard.
Very nice.
So 2 resources. It's got a 1 damage, 1 melee, a 1 melee, a +2 melee, a shield, a resource, and a blank, and gives the character Guardian.
Oh.
So, I mean, I really like this card. The easy comparison to it would be the card from Awakenings. It's 1 resource, give a character Guardian. But for 1 more resource, you get a pretty good die to beat.
Yeah, not too bad actually. I like it just because you can see it. You're giving this character, the keyword Guardian, which that in itself I've really started to notice more and more is actually a really, really good attribute to have.
Very good ability.
You know what I mean? Like being able to just like take or like have an instant ability to just die removal essentially.
Yeah.
At will is just, it's kind of overlooked I think sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then this card, not only for the 2 cost, gives you that keyword ability, but also just gives you really solid sides, especially in a melee deck.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm seeing this in possibly some sort of. I just like to really try to build more into what's this? General Grievous.
Yeah, no, I think
you know what I mean.
Yeah, for sure. I think this fits perfectly into a Grievous and little guy deck, whatever that other little guy is. Getting that damage away from Grievous, being able to spread damage just in general is a really strong ability in this game. Not having one of your characters focus fired and being able to keep as many dudes alive as possible.
Exactly, yeah. I know we were talking about Grievous needing a couple more cool like damage side upgrades, so
right.
I mean, not necessarily that Grievous would be the guy that wants to Guardian eat damage, but that's kind of who they focus on already anyway.
Right.
So if there's maybe a way that you can like upgrade Grievous, get some good stuff from them before, like, get a quick kill in. Maybe steal like one of their redeploy weapons. I think we've seen that happen here before.
Sometimes you forget what Grievous does, and he will take your riot baton.
He will do that. He has no mercy, dude. He's ruthless. But yeah, it's a really fun card. I look forward to playing it.
Yeah, I think the one thing that bothers me about the card is that it's an ability upgrade. And I don't know what that means for the card. Because it seems like the card is just 2 dudes.
Right.
So it being an upgrade ability when it should be either just like a upgrade, or maybe
right?
like making its own personnel upgrade or something.
Yeah.
So if anybody knows, I mean, maybe we'll find out when the new movie comes out why it's an ability.
Yeah, maybe they go through the training, I guess, and they're like, oh, now I have the training of a Praetorian Guard.
Who knows? Maybe these Praetorian Guards don't actually exist, and they're just, figments of imagination that is an ability. So, hey, maybe that's a spoiler, but hey, who knows? We'll see.
We will find out. Yeah, we'll find out in the movies. Let's see what we got coming up next.
All right, for supports, first section of supports.
Oh, okay.
Droid Commandos. Expensive at 4 cost. It does have the 4 damage sides of a 2 damage, a 3 damage, a 3 damage for a resource, and the special, which is 1 damage to any number of characters.
Wow.
So I think a lot of the times the special 1 damage that's on a couple of cards gets overlooked, but at the end of the day, it's still a damage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I always like, at any time you can do damage in this game because you don't really need to do a lot of it most times.
Yeah.
Getting that 1 little damage in doesn't seem too threatening at times, but it really does work well over the course of the game.
Yeah. I think it does feel a little bit bad when you have the special of 1 damage and you're like, you know what I really want though?
Yeah.
I want that 3 damage.
Yeah, give me that 3.
It has its own merits of, not being able to be deflected.
It's true.
But I don't know. I think this one has solid. Another side that it has is the 2 discard. Hey,
Yeah.
2 discards, big game. When you're playing against a control deck, being able to get rid of those cards, or even a deck that plays a lot of upgrades, like say on FN.
Yeah.
Hey, getting 2 of those upgrades out of there, or getting out one of their big events that does something huge.
I'm thinking Boundless Ambition.
Yeah, that's one of the ones I was thinking of. But yeah,
people love to hold on to that card and just try to sneak in a crazy turn against you.
Yeah,
and I've seen that happen plenty of times. And so yeah, I'm not hating on those discard cards.
No, not at all.
Not
But
at
hey,
all.
and then a lot of the times you don't even need to you don't even need to resolve those discard sides.
No.
Having that 2 discard showing, that's pretty scary.
Oh yeah, and you can totally tell. Sometimes it does mess with people. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And you can see they're like, oh, the 2's showing.
No, yeah, it
Play
happens.
this card.
It definitely happens to me where I'm like, oh well. Whenever I see a discard showing on the die, I'm looking at my hand saying, well, 2 of these cards are gone. Is it worth it to reroll? Because I lost 2 cards effectively.
Yeah.
When I see people reroll those discard sides, I am relieved.
Yeah, exactly. So what do you think how do you feel the power of this support is with the cost of 4? Do you think that it's justified, or do you think that it's underpowered, overpowered?
I feel like it's justified. I think at 3, this is disgusting at 3. It is broken. Comparing this to a First Order TIE Fighter, this is insane compared to that.
There's a good comparison there. Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah, I think it needs to cost 4, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I do like that its special can do 1 damage just across the board.
Yeah.
Just bing, bing, bing. Because the Commandos are coming in.
Oh, yeah.
They're not just hitting 1, they're just taking out the entire squad.
They are spraying that damage wherever they can.
Spray and pray, man. I like that. Is there anything else you wanted to say about the Commandos?
No, I'm good.
All right, man. Let's move it on down. I think another support.
Yeah, we have armored support. That's right there in there.
Very nice. Yeah, armored support. We cost the 1 resource, and its action is exhaust the support to re-roll 1 of your red dice. If that die rolls either a melee or a ranged side, deal 1 damage to a character. Wow.
I think it's interesting. I like how it's just any red die. It's not red support die. Mm-hmm. You have your First Order Stormtrooper going 4 wide. Mm-hmm. Free rerolls are pretty good on those guys.
Oh yeah, and you like to see stuff like this, especially in those larger character decks, because you're gonna be generating a lot more actions per turn, and you want to be able to get the most out of those actions.
Right. When you're not going fast, you have the time to activate this guy, get that extra damage with that 50% damage sides on the First Order Stormtroopers. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm really liking it. I think it's a pretty solid support, and for the 1 cost, let's give it a try.
Yeah, it's not terrible at 1 cost. If it was any more, I probably wouldn't care for it as much. One of the ones that it reminds me of is from Awakenings. I think it's a 2-cost support that you can activate to make a damage side +1, essentially.
Yes.
You can resolve it. It's like the something fire.
Yeah. I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
The name is escaping me, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, so, yeah, I really like this guy.
Yeah, I think it'll be a fun card to try out in a lot of those, like, villain red decks. And, you know, it could even probably find some work in maybe those, the 3 Death Troopers.
Yeah, oh yeah,
You know what I mean?
absolutely. With all the damage sides on those things, for sure.
And that'll be
I like
fun. Getting, like, we were saying earlier, getting that one little damage side in, like,
Hey.
you don't know, but man, it adds up.
Yeah, for sure.
It adds up. All right, let's see what else we got in the,
Some events.
ooh.
So let's start off with your skills are complete.
Ah, yes.
So at 0 cost event, turn an upgrade die showing a blank. Turn an upgrade die
To a side.
to a side showing
A blank.
That's actually what it says. I think it's interesting. It's very strange that it's upgrade specific
Yeah.
and to a blank. I guess I like that it's not specifically an opponent.
Yeah. Yeah.
That could have some effect.
There could be. There could be some stuff rolling around there. There's a card. What is it now? It's one of my favorite cards actually, and the name is escaping me. God. The Force. It's feel your anger. That's what it is. Love that card. And so like that's just another way to like kind of generate a negative side, possibly on your opponent's side of the field. And then like, you know, if they're not fully rolled out with their characters, you can kind of set yourself up for possibly a pretty big, you know, feel your anger.
Yeah.
On their next roll, because then like they roll in a character, you throw skills are complete. Maybe they have one neg showing already, and they're like ready to re-roll this guy, so they want to roll in their other character. They roll another blank or something, and you've got to feel your anger ready. It's like, there goes your turn, man. You know. So I think that's got a nice little setup possibility to it as well.
It's also not terrible with just anger.
Oh yeah, that's true too.
Kind of blanking what we said before, blanking your own die. Hey, if they got a really good damage side showing, you can resolve that 4 speed, go super fast, turn your own die blank, and then hit them with their own die. It's something you can do.
I do like that. I like that.
I think it's a very, very niche card, but I think it could have a place.
Yeah, I could see that as well. All right, let's see.
Imperial Envoy. So 2 cost. Reveal 2 random cards in an opponent's hand, then deal 1 damage to a character for each event and support just revealed. So, I mean, getting the knowledge of cards in an opponent's hand, that's always a good thing. At 2 cost, it's a little rough. It's a little rough. Seeing how you can play Probe, which 0 cost.
Yep.
And then also still looking at 2 cards, and then getting the chance to get rid of those cards. I know we talked a lot about the, you know, pinging for 1 damage.
Right.
I think that's a good thing.
Right.
But the 2 cost, that's rough. The pinging for that little bit of damage, maybe, I feel is not worth the 2 cost.
No, I mean, the only way I can see this being, like, worth it, just due to the same reasons that you just described, is pretty much if your deck is just generating an insane amount of resources, then I guess it's like, man, what am I going to do with all these resources? Well, I guess I'll try to, like, upgrade my probe and ping a damage once in a while. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's probably the only way I can see it being super playable right now, because of that 2 cost, essentially. There's so many other things you can do with 2.
I agree.
All right.
So we have, next up, we have First Strike. At 2 resources, you get to do damage equal to the value showing on an opponent's damage side. It's not bad. I feel like it's maybe not quite worth its cost of 2 resources and the opportunity cost of putting it into a deck. What do you think, Derek?
Yeah, I mean, basically, the thing that I like about this, and probably one of the only things I like about it, is the fact that if you're going to be in a race late game, it's one of those cards that, you know, if you don't mind, like, all right, you've already accepted, I'm going to be taking some damage here because I just want to be doing as much damage as I can. I think I can outrace my opponent. This is that card that I'm like, okay, he's got a big damage side showing. I'm going to eat that to the face. well, might as well make him eat it to the face first, possibly even getting a kill on that character.
Sure.
Which would be the ideal situation.
Oh yeah, it's always great when you get that kill from their own die.
Yeah, and then you'd be getting the removal too, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's definitely very situational. It's more of a late game card.
Yeah, I think so. The way I see this card is kind of like a weird love child of reversal and deflect. It's right smack in the middle of them at 2 cost. It has the similar ability of, doing damage equal to one of their dies, but the thing that's great about those other 2 cards is they also remove that die.
Exactly. And then there's not as much of, like, the instance where you have to kill that character. It's
Right.
just you're getting that removal as well.
Exactly. So I would pretty much, even though they're different colors, I do see the value of having this in red, but if you are playing either one of those colors and you're able to pay the 2, try to pay for 3 and reversal it, or save that 1 resource and deflect it.
For sure. I like that a lot. Is there anything else you want to say about that? All right, man. Cool. Let's go to the last of the villain cards.
All right. Last up, we have Subjugate. 2 cost gray, which is interesting, and simple text. Remove a die. I like this one for the value of it showing us how much die removal with no other things cost.
Yeah.
Like no other cost. Hey, 2 cost removes a die. That's how expensive it is in this game. Other cards like He Doesn't Like You. You're paying 2 cost to remove your own die to remove your opponent's die. So we see the value of how much removal costs.
Exactly, and this is just a very baseline removal.
Absolutely.
It is a villain-only card,
Right.
but the thing I like about that is, like we talked about it a little bit earlier, I like flavor.
Yeah.
In my card games. And subjugate, heroes wouldn't be subjugating people.
You're not subjugating anything.
So, I do like the fact that they kept that villains only. It is the 2 cost, so like you were saying, he does say, in this game, it costs 2 to take away whatever you want, but it's gonna cost you that too, for having no other loops to jump through. I like to say.
That's a good way of saying it.
Yeah. And then that's all I have to say about that one. You got anything else?
Oh, no.
Cool beans. All right. And that's the end of our villain side of things. Let's switch over to our hero side.
Cool.
All right. I'm gonna move that over there.
So, since we started off with Kylo first, let's go with Rey.
Very nice. So we got Rey finding the ways. Her health is an 11, which is pretty nice. We've got her at 1. Her dice are 1 damage melee, 2 damage melee, 1 discard, 1 shield, 1 resource, and the 1 neg. After you activate this character, if she has 1 or more shields, you may deal 1 damage to a character. Okay, so I can definitely see some Qui-Gon-esque things here. I think we had a friend of ours who actually made the connection that he believes that Rey is actually a descendant of Qui-Gon thanks to the brilliance of this card game, Star Wars Destiny. What do you think about that, Joe?
As far as the card itself is concerned, I think it's great. I think it might be a little expensive cost-wise at 12.15, but at 12 points, getting that 1 die in, it's very, very similar to the Rey, the original Rey, but having no pluses, which is, hey, that itself is a plus.
Oh yeah.
But doing 1 damage just by activating her, and hey, there's lots of cards out there that give you shields. We'll see a couple of them in this. And I think it's pretty doable to have a shield on her when you activate her. She doesn't need to be the first character you activate on your turn.
Correct. Yeah, and then just being able to, like we were talking, those 1 pings, right?
Yeah.
They really do add up over the course of the game, and her character dice are actually a lot stronger.
Yeah.
Than her previous one, which a lot of people were had issue with how bad her dice were.
Yeah.
But I feel like we've been able to kind of manipulate her bad sides to being good sides in a lot of decks that run her.
Right. Things like Guard or Destiny or...
Yeah. Or, even...
Caution.
Caution, thank you. Yeah, Caution is a good one as well. And so that you've got some ways to kind of manipulate those bad sides being good.
Yeah.
And
here, you don't have to worry about it, though.
You don't have to worry about it at all. And that's kind of what I like about her. She's got the ability to kind of just be a main character, I feel like. Would you say she has the ability to do that? Or do you think that she's still kind of lacking that?
I feel like at the 15 cost, the good thing about her is that she doesn't really need to be your main character. I think one thing that Hero does best is not having as much as the main character support character dynamic and more of a both mid-tier character dynamic. I think that's important. I think having it at 15 is fine for that.
Yeah, it's the right number. Splitting it in half, you know?
Yeah.
Kind of giving you guys the even balance there. I like that maybe one might bring balance to the Force in a way.
Well then.
So, I do like the character though. I think she's got some merit. I don't think she jumps off the page as like super OP.
No. But I think that's good. I think we need these characters to exist. I think it's hard comparing her to original Rey because of, hey, you know what, that card is pretty undercosted, has a pretty gross ability.
Yeah. And
it's nice to see a more grounded version of that. I almost feel like this would have been great as the first Rey.
Yeah, I could see that as well. The action cheating can get a little out of hand, but I think that there's a place for it, though, in the game right now. And I like that we do have one of each, so if you're not feeling like doing all those action cheats and would just rather have a couple of better just overall dice,
right,
it's a good Rey to take.
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's move over to the other character.
All right, we have Poe Dameron, more than a pirate. Pilot. He is more than a pirate.
He definitely is.
So his sides are 1 range, 2 range, that very good 2 focus that I love to see on dice, a 1 resource, a 1 special, and the blank. The special I love on this character. Giving a character a shield, you know what? It's good. It's fine. Yeah. Not terrible. The best part about it, turn a die to any side. Hey, you know what's great? Doesn't have to be yours. It's a little bit better than focus. Let's turn those Vader die to blanks. I think I think he likes those more.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Also, what I'm really seeing in this character when I just first glance at it, I see an ability to trap some people. It's a trap, which this character is really nice.
Yeah.
Also, all in with this type of character in those decks. Like I had run a Akbar Leia deck for quite some time, and this card I can definitely see kind of being slotted in as one of those characters, perhaps, you know, instead of Akbar or something.
He's very interesting in that he is a hybrid of a support and like one of those mid-tier characters. Yeah. He has the 1 damage that, you know, the 1 damage and the 2 damage, which you don't see in a lot of those support characters like Akbar, like Mon Mothma. But at the same time, he has that 2 focus. And if you're playing with a guy with, you know, lots of big damage sides, you love seeing that 2 focus side. Oh my gosh,
yeah. Yeah, that just, I can see the damage output, the focus, the resource. There are no shields, but his special does give the
pseudo shield.
So you kind of get it. So it's basically, you can see that special side treated as a shield plus
focus.
Focus, yeah, exactly. So that's pretty cool, and that's kind of what I like about him. He's just, like we were saying, he's got some really solid sides, and then he's also got just a couple, like, you know, good sides, like the 1 range damage, and then the 1 resource is really good. But the other 3 sides, I think, are very solid.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you've got about a 50% chance of rolling some hot dice with Poe, the pilot. Dameron, sorry. I couldn't resist. But yeah, he's pretty solid, and I'm really excited to kind of give him a try, maybe it's a trap deck.
Yeah,
you know, give it a shot.
I think one thing that we want to talk with Poe is his blaster.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think they work really well together. I mean, of course, it's his gun, so they should.
Totally.
But the special on this one of do 2 damage to a character, or if it's Poe, do 3 damage. That's great. Especially on Poe. If Poe's showing his special, the beautiful thing about it is that you can turn this die into a special, and since, hey, you're resolving specials, you get to resolve that Poe side, that blaster special.
Bam.
So damage out of nowhere, kind of. But hey, that's 3 damage as a quick resolve, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I'm really liking the Poe's blaster at a 2 cost. It's just very, very good stats for a 2 cost upgrade. Yeah. You've got the 2 ranged, the +2 ranged, the 1 resource mitigation, the 1 resource, and then the 1 special, and then you just explained the special, which it's very nice. Essentially with Poe, it's a 3 damage side. And so he's showing damage sides like all over the place. When you upgrade that with him, and I did have to double check, because I remember we saw like that cross-guard lightsaber earlier.
That one is unique. That is his gun.
It is a unique gun. Yeah,
the cross-guard lightsaber is just, hey, it's any gold cross-guard lightsaber.
Right.
Kylo's good at using them. That's why he has the ability, but
exactly.
That's just one that was lying down on the floor.
Yeah, it's just somebody, if you find it, you're like, yeah, okay, this is cross-guard, pretty cool. I'll act like Kylo here.
Yeah, this gun has a sticker that says property of Poe Dameron.
I think his name's on it, actually.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Etched somewhere. But yeah, so it's a very solid upgrade in any ranged damage deck.
Yeah.
But also even better when you've got a Poe Dameron.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think at the 2 cost, comparable cards would be like Overkill. Overkill, hey, it's got a lot of damage sides, it's got big damage sides, but the thing that is bad about Overkill is it's got no black damage sides. So this having at least the effectively 2 black die sides of the special and the 2 really help that out. And I think round out this card to have that.
Oh yeah. Very solid card, and very excited to kind of throw that in one of my It's Attractors.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
See how it runs.
So up next we have Teamwork.
Teamwork, hey.
So 2 cost upgrade. It's got a +2 range, a +2 melee, a resource, 2 specials, and a blink. And the special is give attached character 1 shield. You may give another character 1 shield.
Huh.
So works great in this 2-player set with throwing shields on Rey, letting her activate, doing the damage. I think it also could be good in decks like, hey, your buddy Qui-Gon.
Oh yeah, maybe starting to pair him with somebody other than that Rey. I've actually been looking into doing some different pairings with him even, and I need to kind of look a little bit more maybe into the red realm of things, because that's a really interesting, effect that you can kind of have, and you can kind of give those resources. And I think that that's what this hero deck tends to do. There's a lot of little hit parts just dropping on shields into different characters in this deck, and just kind of bouncing those around, which is really fun. And I think that Teamwork does a pretty good job as an upgrade, especially.
Yeah, for sure. And then 2 damage, even though they're pluses, that's 2 damage on a die. It is mixed damage, but if you have cards like, what was that one from the original starter? Awakening. That's what it's called.
Yeah,
the card Awakening.
Yes, it's the blue
So
one.
Being able to resolve those, dice without having to deal with them, deal with pairing them to other dice, it's pretty good. And I think at a 2 cost, I don't think I would have paid any more than 2.
Right.
I think at 1 it's too good.
Yeah.
So I think it's perfect. It needs to cost that much to do its thing.
I like that. And it is a heroes only, because heroes love them teamworks.
Yeah.
They try to team it up. They're not going to subjugate anybody. All right. Yeah, let's probably hold off.
Cool. All right. Up next, we have Inner Strength, 2 cost blue ability. One thing to note, it's not like the other blue abilities where they require it only to be put on a blue character, so that's a plus.
That's nice.
It's got a 1 focus, a 2 shield, a 1 resource, and 2 specials and a blink. The special being move 1 damage from attached character to a character with no shields. I really like this one. I think the special is pretty good. Effectively being a heal 1, deal 1.
Yeah. And it would be a little bit difficult in situations when your opponent is a shield-heavy deck.
Sure.
I believe, because then the special kind of... Would it be moot point at that point then?
Probably. I feel like if your opponent is playing a heavy shield deck, this card becomes a reroll.
Right.
But hey, that's what's great about Destiny, is that if a card is bad against a certain matchup, it's not completely dead.
Correct.
But I think having the 2 shield side, which is most of the time you don't feel good resolving shield sides, but this one being a 2 shield feels a lot better.
Oh yeah, getting those 2 shields is really nice. Anytime I roll 2 shields with Kwai, obviously, but rolling those 2 shield sides is really fun for me because I'm like, okay, cool, I can get 2 shields over here. I can figure out where I need to place those.
Right.
That's a really nice little, like maybe possibly an upgrade slot for that deck even.
Sure.
Being able to get rid of some damage, the heal 1, deal 1 is very nice. I feel like I'd have to play around a little bit with the Vibro Knife at times.
Sure.
But you know what? You can always set that up. And a heal 1, deal 1 is better than, like, I actually considered playing Force Heal.
Sure.
In my deck, because it gives a little more of that healing mitigation, you know, for the Qui-Gon or for the Rey, for that matter. And I just decided it was just not enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm not a fan of Force Heal. I see a lot of people playing it, and I don't know, that special of just healing 1 and then pay a resource to heal 2.
Exactly.
I would much rather be playing this one at the heal 1, deal 1.
Yeah, and that's kind of what that's what I assessed it as well. I like that card. Anything else you want to say about that?
Yeah.
Cool. Next move.
Next one is Rey's Lightsaber. The next one, the final one in the weapons that characters have. This one specifically Rey's, so hey, unique.
Good catch, good catch.
The cool thing about this one is that it is super similar to the lightsaber, the generic lightsaber that was in the Awakening starter, but has the 2 damage as a black side instead of a special, and has the ability put a shield on a character when it comes into play, or 2 shields if it's Rey. I really like this one. I think this one in Hero replaces all the regular generic lightsabers. I think losing the unblockable can be rough, but I think especially with original Rey, you want to see more black sides than you want to see other things.
Yeah. Especially like when I saw this card, I was very excited. It's like an auto upgrade to the Qui Rey deck that I've got. You literally just take, like you were saying, take out those 2 lightsabers, throw in Rey's lightsaber, and bam, you've got the redeploy. You've got the shield generation that the deck loves, and you've got damage sides, and you even have a shield side on that as well. So that's actually really nice too. There's so many good things about this card. The only thing that and I haven't really fully tested it out yet, but having it at 2, I don't know if like maybe having 1 and 1 is that bad, because I do rather like that special side on the regular lightsaber.
Sure.
To do the 2 unblockable, synchronicities kind of come in really handy late game in the Qui Rey, and as well as being able to get that last 2 damage through if need be.
Right.
But right now, now that I've got my second one, I'm going to be testing it out with the 2's Rey's lightsabers to start.
Yeah, I think I definitely see the merits of having the unblockable. I would say, unless you're reliably resolving that unblockable with a throne room or using meditate, things like that, that definitely is worse with these cards, with this one.
Yeah.
So if you have a meditate package, you might want to keep the original lightsaber. But yeah, it's you gotta weigh. Are those 2 shields and black damage side better than the special?
Yeah, I guess you just gotta figure out in your meta, give it a shot, and kind of see what things are rolling through. If there's a lot of dudes that are using Throne Room, it might not hurt to have the old one in there, the old lightsaber, just because then you have a reason to claim a little bit more often.
Sure.
But yeah, I like it. It's a very interesting card. I think it's a very solid card.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Very happy to see that in the set.
Cool.
And the next card,
We have Luke's Protection.
is actually one of my favorite supports. I think it is my favorite support that we got.
Well, then let's have you take it over.
Yeah, because it's Luke's protection. It cost 0, so
it's always good.
Always good. You like to see hero 0 cost supports, especially with all the draw power that Luke himself has. This one is action. Place this support on top of your deck. From play to give a blue character 1 shield. So, very nice in Qui-Gon decks.
Sure.
Because it's going to allow Qui-Gon to, and if you can play it right, it's almost like an infinite loop of doing like just ping damage at your opponent, kind of like how yellow has the unblockable 3 coming from
backup muscle.
Thank you, backup muscle. But instead of it just being a 3 of 3 damage all unblockable, you kind of have to time it correctly, but it becomes a loop.
Sure.
In a sense, and it's almost like, hey, I'm just gonna keep doing 1-2 damage to you, and in that sense, it's really nice. Also, you can wait until you have 2 of them in play, and then wait for that right time to strike and pop both of them, and then just damage.
Oh, not bad. It does significantly slow down the deck, but hey, if you're not going for speed, doesn't matter.
Exactly.
You just bring a battlefield that isn't super impactful, and take your time, put your shields on your dudes, ping for the damage, and you're pretty good. You're sitting pretty good.
Have some fun with it. All right, let's see what else we got.
Next up, we have the medical droid.
Oh, nice.
So at 1 cost support, which is, hey, it's always nice to see 1 cost die supports. We have a shield, a resource, 2 specials, and 2 blanks. The shield, or the special side being heal 1 damage from your character.
Very nice.
Not bad. It can be similar to a field medic over time that you kind of have to work a little bit for and is a little slower.
Yeah.
If you are looking for more things that have just throwing out as much dice as possible so you can resolve a big patience, I think is cool at 1 cost. And the sides aren't terrible.
Yeah, it's kind of
I'm not excited for it.
Kind of vanilla.
Yeah, it's a card.
Yeah, it's a card. Yeah, it costs 1. It sits in the field, and he's just ready to kind of shoot you with some healing.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, it's just like medical droid pop. Here's 1 heal, and I don't know if it's totally I guess worth the slot. It depends on how your deck runs, but like you said,
sure.
I'm a field medic guy through and through. I'd rather just throw it on,
that's
heal
fair.
a couple damage, and move on from there.
Yeah.
All right.
Next up, we have Strike Team.
Ooh.
5 cost, big money support, with the ability that if your opponent has 3 or more resources, it only costs 4. So, at 4.5 resources, let's say, it's got pretty brutal damage sides of 2 range, 3 range, 3 range for a resource, plus 4 range.
Wow.
2 disrupt and a blank. I mean, it's expensive, but man, look at those sides. Any one of those sides you are not disappointed at seeing when you first roll them out on the beginning of the turn.
No. I am not mad about it. And also, too, there is a quick little caveat that might be fun with this card that I just kind of thought of. I don't know how good it would be, but let's say there's a hero card. It allows you. It costs 0. It's an event that allows you to grab a card or an upgrade from your discard pile and play it for reducing its cost by 1.
The docking bay, the battlefield?
No, it's an event. It's a red event hero card. Do you know what that is? It's
You put a
redeploy. No,
you put a support. Is it support specific?
It's not support. It's an upgrade, I think. My bad.
Okay.
That's where I was wrong. All right, edit this out. I made a mistake. But no, so then that would be totally broken. Because I was thinking you could just ditch this and then bring it back for 3 cost later.
I see.
No. Okay. All right. So, yeah, I definitely think that this card is a strong card, especially at that 4.5 cost.
Yeah.
It's got ambush on it, so it's going to allow you to take an extra action. You can roll it in.
Sure.
You can resolve some sides. If you can get this in play, and you are playing it's a trap deck, that's really gross.
Oh, it's
really gross.
That scares me.
I was playing at one point in my It's a Trap deck. I played a one of a black one, the air support, and that does some really nice things, and it cost 4. So I kind of see this as comparable to, but being able to do like that 4+4 damage is really nice, and so I can see this being like very usable.
Yeah, I think so. I feel like it needs a specific deck. It's not going to just be able to throw it into anything.
Yeah.
You need a deck that's going to be able to pay for it. But I think in those decks, I think it's solid. I think it's something that you definitely should check out.
For sure. Giving it a go.
Up next, we have Honor Guard. This is another one of the cards that I think, for me at least, are on the top 3 of this set. Definitely one of the reasons I picked it up. 1 cost, it's a support. It says action, discard this support from play to remove a die showing damage. One of the big things that Hero Red, or Hero Mono Red specifically, is missing is that removal for damage. They can remove a bunch of things, but that damage is something that they struggle with, and I really like this card. I think it definitely is really nice playing it with the docking bay battlefield, being able to discard it from play, and then when you're done with your turn, hey, you know what? I'm going to put it directly into play from my discard pile.
Yep.
And for free, because it only costs 1. Docking bay lets it cost -1. It is a little rough in that a lot of the times if you're using actions to get rid of dice, you're slowing your deck a little bit down where you might not be able to get that battlefield. But if you know where it is, if you know you can do it, it's clutch. They're clutch plays for sure.
Yeah, almost like a loop.
Yeah.
Of just infinite removal, of one of removal at least.
Yeah.
But that's really all you need at times.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times when, I've seen opponents showing like crazy plus sides and maybe 1 like actual black damage side. And then you're just like, oh man, why can't I just have 1 removal? And that'll be sitting there.
Yeah.
For those moments, or for moments when you're like, oh, I could take a lot less damage if I take care of that right there.
Right.
So there's some positives to it. And then actually you hit the nail on the head. I have had a lot of trouble with my mono red, just getting some removal in there, and that's why sometimes I'll play like certain. I think I played Bespin is the one that removes a character die.
Or Frozen Wastes.
Frozen Wastes, thank you. Bespin.
I don't think that's one of them yet.
I don't think it is yet. I
don't know.
It will be. One of the
I'm sure.
But I really like Honor Guard. I think it's got some merit, especially in those decks, getting that removal.
For sure. I think some of the weak things is that you cannot play it when you need it from your hand. Yeah. If they're showing that, you're kind of screwed. But this is something that you play your first turn, or you play as soon as you draw it. You have that showing, you threaten it, and they have to play around it.
Exactly.
Fierce Resolve. 2-cost blue event. Reroll 1 of your die, then deal damage to a character equal to the value showing on that die.
Huh. So, for the 2 cost there, this is a hero card only. You roll 1 of your dice. So you just roll 1 of your dice in, and then you deal damage to that character equal to the value showing. So it's allowing you to just deal like more damage. Kind of reminds me of the card that we had earlier. It was the red one that allowed you to just deal damage. First strike. Exactly. So first strike. It reminds me of first strike in a way. Same cost. But it allows you to use it's a reroll as well. So
Sure.
So you kind of got like that air of mystery to it a little bit.
Sure,
You know what I
sure.
mean? Like, is it going to be worthwhile? And it is one of your dice specifically, so
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not like you can just re-roll an opponent's die or something like that. I don't know how I feel about it yet. What are your thoughts?
I think it's great with Strike Team, with all those damage sides.
Yeah.
So, I think it needs definitely something like that, though. Something with big damage, or just doesn't even need to be damage. Something with big sides showing on everything. Something like diplomatic immunity.
There we go.
Things that have those high cost sides. It's rough to find a slot for it in the deck, but I mean, if you like playing with these sorts of things, it's there.
Yeah, I could see that as well.
This one, do or do not, I feel like might be a better version of Fierce Resolve.
Yeah.
Being able to, at 0 cost instead of 2, reroll
Always
your
nice.
die and instantly resolve it, increasing its value by 1. Or the
Otherwise-
downside of, hey, if you roll a blank, you roll something that you don't really want to resolve, you have to remove it. But, I don't know, I feel like this one definitely can see play.
Yeah, and I feel more often than not, not paying any resources for that effect, like we've
Right.
talked about earlier. Sometimes it's almost better to have like a little bit of a worse effect, one might say, for a 0 cost. That totally makes it a little bit better in my eyes.
That higher risk, high reward kind of ceiling
Exactly.
sort of thing.
It's one of those things that I can totally see, being able to be drawn into as a hero blue deck.
Right.
And just throwing it out there and just trying to get some extra damage in, or just some extra whatever, possibly some shields, possibly,
Yeah.
some resources if you need some resources for something big. Maybe you're trying to get into a strike team.
Hey, pretty good with Strike Team.
Yeah, it's strike team. It's very strike team worthy. I like how Yoda's like picking up the X-wing.
Yeah.
Like,
He definitely did.
strike your must. Like throwing it out there. I think it's a pretty solid card.
Yeah.
All right, we've got something else coming our way.
Up next, we have Distraction. 1 cost, choose 2 die, then an opponent chooses and removes 1 of those. So, an obvious mirror to it would be something like Overconfidence, where it's 1 cost, choosing 2 things and removing 1 of them. But instead of that chance of being able to have to re-roll into something better for your opponent,
Yeah.
they have to just choose them at face value.
I think there's something to be said about that.
Yeah.
Being able to actually pick out what your opponent's going to be like having to resolve. It's really a big mind game in that respect.
Yeah.
It's like a Jedi mind trick, I guess, in a way. Because like when I do play Overconfidence, I'm kind of like picking out dice depending on like, okay, if I want this one removed, I'm trying to pair it with something that I know might have a better roll than it, and so on and so forth. So it's a little bit more like the offensive person, trying to choose and make that decision for themselves. Rather, this one kind of puts the decision solely on your opponent, which can be very detrimental sometimes.
Yeah.
Messing with game plans.
For sure.
Messing with like their thought pattern of the turn. So
Yeah,
I really like that.
I like it. I think both Overconfidence and Distraction have a place. They both have their pros and cons that are better in situations. And I feel like I need to test it a little bit more to see if there's one that is very obviously better.
Yeah.
I think a good thing to keep noting is if you're playing Overconfidence or Distraction, have mental ticks in your mind when the other one would be better with cards like this.
For sure. I definitely agree. Let's see.
The last mono blue, what's the last
Hero.
event that we have for Hero is Concentrate. At 1 resource, turn 1 of your dice to any side. You may spend 1 resource to turn another 1 of your dice to any side. So effectively, this card is a 1 focus for 1 from your hand out of nowhere. I like it. I think in those decks like Luke Ray, where you're looking for specific die sides, you want to see these cards. Something that does those big damage. And being able to also pay 1 more resource on top of it to switch it is a much better feeling than if this card costs 2 to flip 2 dice to any side.
Yeah.
That flexibility, I think, is very good on it.
Yeah, I think that's what this card has. It gives you the options. And in card games, it's always nice to have options. And this is a very solid card at 1 cost for that.
Yeah.
I like it.
I think one of the big things is just surprise.
Yep.
Yeah. A lot of times your opponent will have that focus die showing, you know exactly what they're going to be doing with it. But when they hit you with a concentrate out of nowhere, didn't expect it, that's big.
Oh, yeah. Cool. All right. And let's move over to some of the neutral cards from the set.
So first off, we have As I Have Foreseen.
Oh, wow. Okay, this one's really cool looking. I'm an art fan already. So at a 0 cost, As I Have Foreseen. It's an event with the keyword ambush, and look at each opponent's hand. So you're able to just gain hand knowledge. So being able to manipulate dice, being able to look at your opponent's hand, and then being able to react after the fact is really nice.
Sure.
The ambush on here is what makes this card playable for me.
Sure.
If it was just look at your opponent's hand,
spending your whole turn to just do that doesn't feel good. Definitely the ambush makes it infinitely more playable. But I feel like this is one of those cards that needs a specific deck for it.
Yes.
Slotting into any blue deck maybe not be the best thing.
Right.
But in something that is looking for a control, like a control deck, being able to make sure what your opponent has and punish them for that is big.
Yes, exactly. And if you know you need to force some discards or something like that as well, that's also very important to have that knowledge. Like, maybe I have a couple discards showing. Should I discard? Should I reroll? Let's find out.
Yeah.
You know?
I think the rough part about it is that slot in the deck. Being able to throw it instead of a removal, probably not really what you want to do, but if you're already full on removal, you're really looking for something to just get that knowledge. I think this is the best option for that.
Yeah, just that hand knowledge. Very nice.
Up next, we have Clash. This is another one of those top cards in the set for me.
Very cool.
At 1 resource, turn one of your dice showing melee damage. Turn an opponent's die showing melee damage to a blank. I really like this card. It's a slow version of Force Strike. You don't get to immediately resolve it, but you get to mitigate your opponent's die. Soft mitigation in that it's turning it to a blank, but it's still something they need to either discard to reroll or focus it, use another die, or use a card to put it back to where it was originally. And I think being able to turn any one of your die to a damage showing melee is big. It's not just blue, which is a lot of these cards do.
Yeah, I like that as well. Being able to, just being able to turn your side to the damage, just to switch the threat level.
Absolutely.
Especially, like, let's say you do have a side showing a blank, but you know that it could be like a Luke 3.
Yeah.
Like, well, hell, I'm playing that right now. And then switching that Vader to a 0 or to a neg, and switching yours to a 3 is really huge.
Yeah.
It's like a 6 or a 3 damage swing. 6 damage swing, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's really nice. I think at the 1 cost, it's right on the money, and it's a neutral card, so either side can play it.
Yeah.
So very solid.
And the other great thing about it is that you don't need to have one side of the effect to be able to use it. So if your opponent's not playing a melee deck, you could still use this to focus your side to a damage. If you don't have any melee damage showing, you can still focus your opponent's melee damage to a blank. I think that's one of the big strong things that will make it see play in decks, is that it doesn't have the then clause, making it you need to do this to do this.
Oh yeah, that's
making
really,
it very versatile.
That's a very good point, actually. Yeah, there's some cards that do need to have everything checked off,
right,
to initially to make them effective. But this does not have that, so it's got a little bit more play, a little bit more play back and forth.
Up next, we have Recon. At 1 resource, choose a symbol showing on a die, then turn another die to that side. showing the same symbol.
Oh.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Helps you get your guns out. It's almost like a slow, small. It's a trap.
Yeah.
Can be. It could also help you turn those sides into money, matching those pluses to other things.
Mm-hmm.
If you have that high plus showing, turning another die to that black one, so you're able to resolve it. I think it could see play.
Yeah, it's nice with the one cost there. Being able to just like kind of like slowly like find something that you need. If you want to decide showing another damage, like you were saying, it's a nice little wild card in the deck. You throw it in there and it's gonna help you kind of like little baby. It's a trap.
Yeah.
Little baby trap. All right, I like it.
Up next we have direct hits. Resolve 2 costs. Resolve one of your dice showing damage, increasing its value by 2. So it's close to like 2 natural talents put together, which is a card from Awakenings.
Yep.
For 1 cost, increasing a die by 1.
Yeah.
So having 2 of those, 2 plus 2 damage is mean. That hurts out of nowhere, especially. I think that's where this card shines, is the damage coming from nowhere.
Yeah. When your opponent's sitting there figuring out, all right, I have a couple damage, I'm still okay.
Right.
I can stabilize possibly after this turn, and then you just drop that on them,
Yeah.
and it's like, ugh, crap. It's kind of like you were saying, it's like the double of the ace. What was it? Pilot.
Natural talent.
Natural talent. Yeah.
I
think Poe Dameron's on it. That's the reason I thought.
I think it's natural
pilot. But yeah, natural talent. That's really solid. I think that the 2 damage is nice. I think the 2 cost.
I think the 2
is
cost
a little
is rough.
worrisome.
Yeah, that'll probably make it not see as much play as it might. But at the same time, I think 1 cost for this effect is really tough.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that this core set, this 2-player game really throws at you, is this is the cost of certain effects. Now we know if you're increasing a die by 1, that costs 1.
Yeah.
So increasing it by 2, that costs 2.
I like it.
Also, I love that art of just that rebel trooper, point blank, boom, right there. That's great art.
I also love how this little guy in the corner is like, oh no! He can shoot us at point blank range. Go! Let's see what we got next.
Up next, we have Mobilize. Simple text, 3 cost, get 4 cost. Get 4 resources. Interesting. At the 3 cost might be a little rough. It'd be interesting to see something maybe later on down the line of costing 2 that gives you 3 resources. I like that ability of it's almost like a just free resource getting in, but you need those resources to be able to play it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Just like you want to be able to earn that, like instead of just giving you a free resource. And that's where, like, although it seems like a pretty fair trade, I guess. Like getting the 3 for 1, and you're just like totally just getting the +1 overall.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'm feeling too much about it. I feel like that it might be a really good card if it was like a 0 cost for 1.
If it costs 0, gave you 1
it just
resource.
Gave you 1. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That'd be really nice. I think the 3 cost for me is a little high, but I also don't play too many decks that just generate a lot of resources.
Sure.
So that's probably why I'm shying away from it. Do you think that it's pretty solid? Or
that's fair. I think your interpretation of the card is very fair. It's almost scary just to have a 3 cost card that gives you a resource in things like Unkar, and getting that discarded is huge, or even something like the old Kylo, revealing that and taking 3. Yeah, that's why I think I would be much more interested in further down the line. I'm sure it'll come eventually. Either 1 to give you 2 resources, 0 to give you 1, or 2 to give you 3. I think those are definitely going to be more playable. But as far as this card is concerned, interesting, but not quite there.
Yeah, I agree.
Up next, we have you now. I have you now. 1 cost. Turn a die to a side showing damage. So, again, one of those slow 4-strike things, with the plus sides of you don't need it to be a blue die or just any die, show it to damage.
Yeah, and I do like that. It kind of reminds me of Recon in a sense. Instead like on Recon, you actually choose the symbol on the die that's already showing, and then you can turn another die to that same side.
Sure.
This one, it just gives you straight up damage.
Yeah.
So you don't have to kind of go through like a check clause or jumping through a hoop.
Right.
You just kind of go, 1 resource, I'm turning this to damage. Let's go on in.
Yeah.
And so that's always really nice. Trying to get a little bit more aggressive on people. It would be really nice if it had ambush.
Oh, hey, yeah, I agree. I think this one, like how you said, Recon.
Yeah.
I think Recon is great for things other than damage. If you are looking to recon into damage,
Right.
you should be playing I Have You Now.
Exactly. Cool.
Anything else?
Nope, that'll be it. Let's see.
Right. The last event is Sound the Alarm.
Ooh.
0 cost. Reroll any number of an opponent's dice showing damage. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's I don't think it's competitive, playable, and constructed, but I think it's interesting to have that sort of effect in there. We have a couple of cards that re-roll all dice or re-roll your opponent's dice, things like that. It is nice to see this effect at 0, whereas some of them cost maybe 1 resource or have a spot specific.
Yeah, I think Disturbance in the Force is one.
Yeah.
It's got Grand Moff Tarkin on it.
Yeah, does that
I
one
think-
cost 1 or
I believe
is
it
0?
cost 1.
Okay.
And then it's just reroll all dice.
Sure.
And I think it's ambush as well. I don't know if I'm mistaken, but
That one does not have
it
ambush.
does not. Yeah, but it's like a very similar effect. But this one just re-rolls any number of an opponent's die.
And opponent's dice showing damage. So that's what's great about this one versus Disturbance in the Force. Whereas if they had a die off to the side that wasn't showing damage, you re-roll it, there's a chance of it showing damage. At least with this one, you know you're either going to be getting that damage side or something worse. There's a small chance it might be better.
Yeah.
But if you are playing this one, chances are they're showing the bonkers dice of damage, big damage, big damage. Just don't want to see it.
Yeah, get it out of here. Sound that alarm.
I think that is one of the strengths of the card versus a lot of those other effects, that it is specifically those dice that are going to be doing damage to you.
Yeah, trying to evade those as best as possible.
Yeah.
I like it.
Cool.
All right, and we have 2 cards remaining.
2 battlefields.
All right.
We'll start off with Hangar Bay. We have Claim. Reveal the top card of an opponent's deck. If that card is an event or support, do 1 damage to a character. So I think this one's pretty interesting in that you get to see at least 1 card that your opponent's drawing next turn. Whether it's doing the damage or not, having that knowledge is pretty strong. And hey, you know what? If it does that damage, that's awesome.
Yeah, just chopping wood, I always say. Yeah, and revealing that card, hand knowledge in any card game is very crucial. It allows you to kind of get into your opponent's head in a sense. Like, I know whenever somebody knows a card that I have, I kind of think twice about it. Like,
Sure.
Maybe I should just play this, get it out of here, or should I hold on to it?
Yeah.
Let's see if they remember, because sometimes people don't remember
That happens.
the card, and yeah, that makes me happy when that happens. But there are times when like they'll just have that knowledge on you, and
they'll
it's
play around it, and just being able to know it and you being able to play around it is big.
very true, very true. And like what we've said all day, that 1 damage squeaking in here and there, very unexpected. You don't know when it's going to happen 100% of the time either.
Sure.
But just that ability is nice. But I do feel like having this, like, as long as like you keep claiming, you have to be kind of an aggressive deck, I feel like, more
Sure.
or less. If your opponent has the ability to be aggressive too, it might kind of backfire on you time and time again. But I feel like if you're aggressive enough, it's going to give you a lot of a nice little boost.
Sure.
In the
I
game
think if
overall.
you are also being aggressive, you're playing less removal. So you're spending less time to mitigate dice. so you're able to claim more often. And also, if you're playing less removal, you're playing less events, which is something that would hurt you if your opponent were to claim against you. And I assume if you're playing this one, you're probably not playing as many supports either. And I like that. The other thing I like about it is that you get to choose where the damage goes. Some of the cards, like the Mustafar Factory.
Yep.
Or what is it?
Oh, it's Mustafar. Oh god, and I played the card for it too.
That's why I'm asking you. But
Mustafar Battlefield. That's what
the
I call
one
it.
on Mustafar that gets to do the
Separatist
damage.
base.
Separatist base. That's
Boom.
what it is.
There it is.
Where your opponent gets to choose where the damage goes can kind of be rough.
It is unblockable.
It is unblockable,
But
being able to choose where the damage goes, I think, is pretty good.
It is. It is. It kind of puts you in the lead, and especially if you're focusing on a character.
Yeah.
And you have the ability to kind of ping one more damage, or it also kind of like second thought in the back of your opponent's head, like, oh man, if he claims, if you've got one damage left on a character, should I claim early? You know what I mean? And those mind games, once you start making your opponent think like about something other than like their strategy,
exactly,
you've already started winning.
I agree.
So I like Hangar Bay a lot.
Yeah.
And I also really like this other one.
Obi-Wan's Hut.
Yeah.
Claim, give a blue character 1 shield, or spend a resource to give any character, a non-blue character, a shield.
Right.
Yeah, I like this one a lot. I think in a lot of the decks that were running Echo Base, this one's a pretty big upgrade, unless you are, of course, running non-blue characters. But if you are, man, this is great, because now your opponent has the chance of not being able to get full value out of that battlefield.
Yeah, and that's what actually really draws me to it. It's pretty much an auto upgrade in my Quai-Ray, just because like there are times when I've been playing my my shield, my battlefield. They'd claim it, they'd get a shield, and then I'd have to probably use one of my shields later on to pop that shield off and kind of constantly go through that damage. But the ability to possibly, and a slight, they'd have to play around it maybe if a deck doesn't gain as many resources. That's the type of deck that I would get a lot more value out of Obi-Wan's Hut. Sure. And that's kind of what I'm looking forward to trying out. I slotted this in right away when I opened it, and I'm like, all right, little upgrade to Quai-Ray already. I'm liking it. I did like a lot of the cards that came through here to try to kind of upgrade that deck. And even in other decks, like, I don't know if, Luke Ray would be interested in that as much, but could be something,
Yeah, for sure. It's better, like I said, better than the Echo Base that they would have chosen.
Yep. Pretty much any blue, mono blue deck.
Right.
This is just a thought, at least a thought for him. Not necessarily an auto include by any means, but it's just something nice to kind of look at, and I think it's an auto upgrade for Quai-Ray.
Sure, absolutely.
All right, and then it looks like that concludes our kind of assessment of these cards. Do you have any closing thoughts, Joe?
I think this was the coolest thing to happen in card games. Having something secret, and then one day being, hey, by the way, there's X amount of new cards that are going to be thrown into the pool. It's something that I haven't seen often, and just is a very cool thing. So, big shout out to Fantasy Flight for doing something like this.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. We really do enjoy this game. So yeah, just keep putting out as much content as possible. We're also trying to add to that content ourselves, and we do play Star Wars Destiny here at Collector Legion in Gardena, California. If you guys are in the area, please come on by. We play on Mondays and Thursdays at about 6 o'clock. Show on up anytime beforehand. We've got Joe will be around.
Yeah, I'm usually around. I run a league here as well, so I'll put the link in the description below for information on that.
Yeah, you get some pretty cool promos and stuff like that, so we'd love to see you down here. Thank you guys so much for watching. We appreciate your time, and take care.